All right, I'm trying this again. Trying this again. If you are here, please leave me a note in the chat. All right, I'm trying this again. Trying this again. If you are here, please leave me a note in the chat. All right, I'm trying this again. Okay, so let's go ahead. Sharon, hi. This is a new thing for me. And of course, I have to do it during Mercury retrograde, which is probably like the worst thing that I could have done. Hey, sorry, give me 1 second. Hey, Nicole. Hi. I have an echo. Is it still echoing? Sharon, is it still echoing? Hey, Heather. Can you all tell me if it's still echoing? Okay, now, okay, good. This is weird because just to give you a little, hey, Carrie. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun to see all of you here. Um, oh, good, no echo. So this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I'm looping it through Zoom because I want to share my screen with all of you so you can see the examples I got and oh, good, no more echo. Yay, no more echo. So I want to be able to share my screen with you so you can see the design submissions and the problems, all that kind of stuff. Great. I'll just wait like a couple minutes longer and then we'll get started. I see Carrie. Okay, great. Carrie, I've got your stuff here and we're waiting on Heather. Heather's also someone that submitted something. So what I'll do is I'll go through the two submissions and then I will answer any design questions or just any questions you have in general about maybe videos that we've seen or videos that I've done in the past if you have any questions about that stuff. Was this bring your own glass of wine? Oh my gosh, I need a glass of wine. I should have I should have cracked open. I just have water. But oh yes, please have a glass of wine for me. I could have used it. That actually would have relaxed me a little bit. I rushed home on the subway to get here and you can see it's like pretty rainy. So I love that. I should crack open one of Jerry's expensive bottles of wine. He would kill me. All right. Well, you know what? I think maybe what we'll do is let's get started with Carrie. Let me just pull up. So what I've done is I've taken the photos. Hold on, what's this time? Oh, raining into, yeah, it's all over, isn't it, Toronto? It's raining everywhere. We're supposed to have a nor'easter, which great. I was hoping it was going to be like really nice weather soon, but no. All right. So while we are waiting, let's see. So Heather is not here. Let me just, I've got some screens open. Okay. All right. I'm getting too distracted, you guys. I love reading your chat. This is so much fun. We'll just have to have like let's all get a glass of wine together kind of chat sometime. Okay, so let's pull up Carrie's submission. So I've got Heather's up here. Hold on. Let me close out of these. So what I've done is I've taken your submissions and I've looked at, okay, great. And what I've done is I've looked at your submissions and come up with some ideas on how I would address the situation. Now, these tend to be more complex because like I'm not there. I don't have the full scope of everything. And it's definitely, these kinds of design questions we could dive into more. So what I'll do for you is I'll share my suggestions here. And then if you have questions, we can always chat through Instagram or offline about them further, because it's kind of hard with this. Ideally, what I would like to do moving forward is I would like to give you all a Zoom link that you can then be a part of the Zoom call with your video off. And then, anyone else that is not participating, that's just watching on YouTube, can just watch on YouTube and be a part of the YouTube chat. But like within the Zoom call, then I can really get into your questions, and then I can also answer your actual questions. Like you could turn on the mic and answer and ask me questions. So I think that would be really fun to go that route, like moving forward. But I think just trying to get everybody on Instagram, I think that's a little, aw, I love all these comments. Hi. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you all here. I wish we could actually talk to each other. And so that's why I think it would be really fun to have like the Zoom call, and then we could have, I could share the link with you privately, and then we could kind of be on the call talking. I would like to be the only, I would like to have other people on here, in other words, not just me talking. I'd like to actually hear your voices. So I am going to start with Carrie. Okay, I think I've got let me pull up all her pictures. So Carrie her home is like a townhouse, kind of like a New York townhouse, actually. I think that was how she compared it. In Toronto, is that correct, Carrie? I've got yeah, I love the Zoom idea too. I think that's more fun to be able to talk and connect together. And I think I'd like that. I hope you would. So let me see. I've got Carrie's notes here. So Carrie likes the eclectic. She likes the layered look. She's having some decision fatigue. And actually, let me just share my screen here, because that's the whole reason why I'm doing this like this. Okay. Okay. So so when I look at her home, she does like the eclectic look. She has decision fatigue. It's a lot to take on. It looks like, oh, this is Heather. So sorry about that. I thought we were going first. I've got her images here. So we'll just quickly go through these. This is her like dining nook in the kitchen. You've got a very like Scandinavian feel to this design. I really love, I love the banquette that you guys made, and I love this staircase here. I just want to make sure I see your chat so I can see you're here. Okay, yeah. It is a long, narrow house. Yep. I mean, I know that very well living in New York. What we have are railroad apartments. I've had a couple of those with friends when I was much younger in Brooklyn, and they're the long, narrow places. So you've got when I look at this, I get a real sort of Scandi feel from all of this. Yeah, the stairs are awesome, aren't they? It's a really beautiful, like you have a really beautiful base. You really do. And I think that here's the kitchen again. I think that you have a lot of opportunity here. Oh yeah, you have a good contractor. I mean, this is really amazing. So a couple things to point out. Carrie has mentioned that, this is kind of their drop zone, like here, right as soon as you walk in the door, they've got a little area here. and a window. There's a light fixture here. They've also got a piano that cannot move. And this piano, Carrie, is this kind of like a dark cherry wood, or is this a black piano? I couldn't really tell. If you can let me know in the chat. I'm thinking it's kind of a cherry color. So a couple things that I would do, and Carrie, I made a board for you. Get out of here. There we go. Can you see this? Let me make sure you can share this. It's a dark cherry. Okay, great. Can you all see the mood board that I just put up? Because I know sometimes when I share extra things on Zoom, it won't show it all. No, it's family heirloom is amazing. I think that you should definitely have that. I would love to have a family heirloom piano. And I actually really like it. And I think we can make that all of that work. Ah, thank you. Let me reselect screen share. If I can find my screen. I can't find my screen. Ah, okay. Okay. So Carrie, here's what I think. I do think the idea of moving this around would be a good idea. I like the idea that you had mentioned putting a sofa kind of in the middle area and having that float. Because see, right now we've got, I don't know if this is a green chair or a black chair because it reads a little different on my computer and on my phone. But what I would look at doing is, and I think you had mentioned buying a new sofa. I would look at moving the sofa to this area, like in the middle. I would move. Actually, let me ask you a question. The do you use the dining table? Yeah, definitely would be easier. Okay. So I'm just gonna have to assume I'm just because everything is, oh, it's green velvet. Okay. Carrie, do you use the dining table or do you guys mostly sit in the kitchen to eat? Because I think you had mentioned sitting in the kitchen a lot. Okay. Breakfast nook. Okay. So my thought was, well, there's a couple things. First of all, there's like a need to create a cohesion in the space because we've got the cherry wood from the piano. We've got some warm woods over here to the left. We've got, I think, a little warm wood. We've got like cooler woods on the floor and also for the staircase and kind of cooler light walnut colors. So we've got a lot of different wood tones here. We've got warm and we've got cool. My thought is there's a, hold on, let me pull this up. I made a mood board for you because I think color is what is going to create cohesion in this space. Let me get myself out of the way. So in that, I would think like, I'm just looking at this, okay, so I like to lean into the big obstacle. So I know the staircase would normally be a beautiful focal point, but I don't see that when I look in this room. I immediately see the piano and I see the chair. Those are the two things that I see, but mostly I see the piano. And it's because it's so different from everything else. And so what I would try to do is I would try to work with that color and work with the way to integrate that cherry in with the warm wood. So I came up with a palette for you. And my thought was I especially like this image at the bottom where you can see kind of this pretty sort of muted sage green. And I think a color like that on your walls combined with a very large, it's got to be a focal point kind of rug, because what we need to do is we need to ground this space. Right now, it's not grounded. Everything kind of is floating. Like if you look at this image, everything kind of looks like it's just floating on air almost, because it just kind of blends in with the floor. So you really need to take that focal point and expand it in the room so it starts to create like a cohesion. So I'm thinking like a really big rug like this. I might have to share my screen again to get the other inspiration images, but like a large rug like this red one would be really great. Or if you want something a little toned down, this brown one with a little bit of like kind of like a dark caramel color would look nice too. Both of those are going to tie that cherry in with the warm wood that you have to the left. You have like a small sort of cabinet credenza, and I'm guessing probably a cabinet for your, that's like kind of your coat closet perhaps. Now that could also bring in, I think it's a warm wood on the table too. But that's what I would look at doing. And I think that you need to, since you've got a really big open concept, I think that you need to also integrate this same color into the dining area. And I'll get to that part too in a moment. But I think this green on the walls and the ceiling with this deeper rug, so green and red, that's why I put this up here, they're complementary colors. And I like the idea of using a rich, warm kind of wine or a rich, warm sort of camel or caramel color, or kind of a rust or a more brownish red color that that would tie those woods together. That would kind of anchor everything down and make a little more cohesion. And then I would also, I've got white here too, because I think that's the existing color that you have on your walls. And that's what you also have in your cabinets. I've got the black here because I can see that you like black. I also think that now that I know that this velvet chair is dark green, I think this muted sort of sage green would look really pretty. It's almost kind of like a 1970s very light pea green color. That's what I'm thinking, because I think that would look really, it wouldn't be dark, it would still be like a lighter color, and I would lean towards the light. Like if you're looking at the samples of paints, I would lean towards the lighter version, but where you're still seeing that green, because that's going to really complement that red, but it's still going to create, there's something about paint that kind of envelops everything. So that way things aren't just kind of like in a room. So I do really love white walls, but I think in this situation, you'll want to paint because the ceilings are not super high. And you've also got that soffit right there. So you want to paint all of that so it sort of blends in and you don't really see the soffit. The other thing, like just sticking with the color palettes and kind of like what I would do in the space. So here's the dining nook. And here's this. So you do, again, you have like a very kind of Scandi sort of look. I know you like mid-century. So going back to this mood board, can you see this image here with this dark burgundy wall? I'm not saying you have to necessarily paint your wall burgundy, but I want you to see how that deep, rich sort of wine tone, or that deep red sort of looks with this light wood. It actually looks really nice. It's a beautiful contrast. And I think that would look really, carrying the green in here would also be beautiful. I don't know. It looks a little bit like it would be difficult to paint this room a different color. And I actually don't think you should. I think you should carry the green all the way back here. But what I would do instead, I would change out the light fixture and I would put something more like this fixture. See this kind of warm, sort of baskety thing? It's Scandinavian vibes. It has a mid-century feeling to it. It's also warm. It's a warm rattan. So I think that would be, you're carrying that warmth back into the room. Now, here's what you're going to do to carry that color that you have from the piano back into this room too. So you need to think in terms of front to back here because it's one long open space. What I would do is I would look for some kind of, instead of going for a black shade here, I would look for a vintage something that is in line with this kind of rug. So I would look for something that has like this kind of tone as a Roman shade here. That's what I would do. And you mentioned painting your door black. I think that would look really nice. I think that would look it would add a lot to it. But I think if you paint that door black and then you have something similar to one of these rugs, like a pattern Roman shade that incorporates this color, I think you definitely need to put in some pattern and not black and white, because I think you need something that really pulls that cherry wood together. And so this is what I came up with for you. I will send this to you on Instagram. I know I love this rug. Let me see if I can share some of the others. Right. I think statement lighting is really important. And also, you know what? I didn't get to the light for the living room, but I would look for something that is similar to this for the living room, or something that is I know you're going to have to probably be a little bit shorter because it might be difficult to have something that comes down. I don't know how high the ceiling is, but maybe something that's a little bit longer than a flush mount. I love this kind of maroon fabric light fixture. And if you could find something like that you could put in here, that pop of color that ties everything in. Because again, we're talking about the rhythm and like moving your eye around the room. So I want you to think in terms of injecting these colors so that you can kind of tie it together. The eye moves around. That's what I would do. And then, I would look at making this soffit work for you. So, the other thing I wanted to tell you, Carrie. Oh, you're welcome. Aw, of course. Yeah, I know. I love those colors. They make my heart feel really warm. The other thing I was going to say, if you're not using the dining table, I would get rid of it and I would move the piano into that area and make it like this cool, vibey kind of music area, and then you could put some artwork. You can put some eclectic artwork on the wall that ties in those colors from the rug and brings it in, along with some, like, I think you had a black and white photograph there. I think that would look really nice. And then in the front, I would shift it around a little bit to where you have that wardrobe. If it can fit in that nook, once it's all painted, see if it can fit in there, or even consider building out just part of it, building it out into a cabinet. I don't know the depth of that area, if you could actually hang something the correct way there, but that's what I would look at doing, and make that kind of like your foyer, and then move your seating into the middle so you can really utilize both sides of the walls rather than just one side, because you've got that wardrobe directly across from the sofa. So I try to make that whole seating area right there in the middle, and then have that big, huge, beautiful rug to kind of pull everything in. And in terms of colors for furniture, I mean, you could go with another, like you've got the deep green there. I would look at going for something in, it depends on what you like, but something in a neutral. I don't know. No, not a neutral. I'd go with something rich. So I would go with something in a darker color probably a color from whichever rug you choose as an anchor, or if you can find another shade of green. This takes a little bit of skill, but I'm confident in you, and you can always DM me if you have questions. So there you go. Perfect. You can build the cabinet there. But what you could do, since you've got that dark green and that looks kind of like an emerald green, really kind of embrace and lean into the green, and perhaps you can find a green sofa. If I wouldn't say necessarily the same color, but what I would try to do is get a few tones lighter, and then you have the sage green on the wall. So you have kind of this green thing going on with this maroon. I think it would look very designed. But yes, so I will DM this to you. And then if you have questions, we can chat about it on Instagram. Okay. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to stop sharing. Wow, it's dark here. All right. So let me see. Heather, are you here? Is Heather here? I don't see Heather. Okay. Well, listen. Love green, favorite color. Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm loving green too. Oh, you're very welcome, Carrie. Jerry and I want to inject like more green into our home. We both have fallen in love with it. We actually did something, I'll share it with you on a future video, but we did something. Oh, smart mouth, Heather, duh. Okay, hello. Great, good. We actually did something really interesting with our floor. I'll have to share the technique with you because it was something that a gentleman from our local hardware store helped us to figure out. So it's really fun. Yay, Heather's here. Okay, great. So Heather, I'm going to pull up your boards now and your images. All right, bear with me. Okay. Wow, I'm getting the hang of this. This is actually, I like it. Okay, let's share my screen. All right. So let me just move this over so I can see the chat. Okay. So Heather sent me, let me just move this. All right. Wait, don't look at this yet. Okay. So Heather sent me a couple images. She sent me an image of her bedroom prior to moving furniture in. And then she sent me a picture of her living room. And so Heather's issues, yes, I mean, this house is gorgeous, but oh, yay. Yeah, I think you've got a beautiful home. You really do. And you've got great light. You also have really big rooms. But the thing that Heather doesn't like is that number one, everything is gray. So I believe whomever built this property, I think you said it's 3 years old. They went with something very neutral and very safe, and at the time it was like, that was the safe bet. And while she describes it as dated, I don't think gray is dated. I still really like gray, but I think that gray has to be, the thing about gray that's interesting is even though gray is kind of a cool tone, I think you can mix it with warm tones. And that's what she's wanting to do. She's wanting to warm this up. And so let me move this back over. So what I've done, Heather, is I have put together a board for you as well. My thought, Heather, this color, I know this color well. This color is, I think, probably the same color that our walls were when we moved in, because it gives off the same kind of vibe. It gives off the same kind of light. And when I look at this picture, I get very inspired for what could be. And obviously, we want to look for a feeling of cohesion. And actually, the two of you, Heather and Carrie, you guys both, I loved showing these together because the warmth that could be injected in all of this and like the richness and the boldness, you guys have really nice kind of blank canvases, so to speak. Heather, yours just happens to be gray, but still you have a lot of opportunity here. And when you sent me this picture of the two chairs, um, that's where I got my inspiration from. And I actually really love this palette right here because this is a way to get warmth. So again, we're looking for, when you don't like your floors, you want to go for the biggest rug you could possibly get for the space. And you want to cover up your floors. I don't think your floors are bad. I think once you get the furniture in that you like and you get that cohesive, that color palette, that kind of vibe, that styled look, then I think you'll feel happier about the floors. I don't think they will bother you as much. Now, that being said, this was the kind of rug that I picked out for it. And again, I was using the chairs as inspiration. I think something like this, I just think it's really beautiful. It's a very, like, it's kind of that terracotta orangey sort of color, but it's a little muted. You could see that it has other things weaved into it. And it's also got this off-white and this black. So this to me felt like, oops, what am I doing here? This to me felt like a really good opportunity here because I started thinking, okay, well, you could also go for a neutral rug. I think that could do very well, but I really like the idea of this rug myself. If you want to go a little safer, a big like ivory colored rug, like kind of like the color I have here at the top would look really nice, and also your walls. So when you showed me the image of your living room, it made me think of our walls. And we used a really beautiful color called Putty by Benjamin Moore. And it has the look of kind of like a stone or like putty. And I really loved it on our walls because I like that sort of stone look. And we didn't get it in a flat paint, but you could get it in a flat paint for like living room or bedroom, definitely not in the kitchen. But you could do something like that and it would have like this, I really love the lime wash, but lime wash is a little bit more of a commitment. And so I think, let me just minimize this. I think these could be really good options. So let me just look at the chat real quick. Yeah, exactly. When you focused on the rest of the rooms, the floors, exactly, Sharon, the floors will disappear. The blackboard really adds sophistication. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is. It's very quiet luxury vibe. Like these are, I feel like, timeless pieces. Like they're modern, they're of the modern kind of time period. So that is like a kind of clean lines, minimal neutral colors. But also I like injecting it with these darker colors. I also threw in this maroon color because I started looking, and this was before I even got to Carrie, but I started looking at this and I love this is a huge black and white photograph of Georgia O'Keeffe in a kitchen. And I love this. Do you see these warm woods with this maroon? It's so beautiful. And it's just like, you can have neutral walls, but you've got to think in terms of how do you support that neutral wall so it looks like it has depth and it has some character. So this is what I was thinking for you. And I think you could easily blend in a lot of beautiful green plants because you have such great light. And I think you said you were southeast facing, or you definitely south facing. But you can see here how you can inject the warmth. Like once you start looking at this, you could just see how the brown floor will kind of just blend in with this kind of color palette. So I'll send this to you, Heather. And I think, oh, you know what? I want to go back to your other pictures. So she had sent me some additional pictures. I do really think this is just an inspo picture. This is not a color palette picture, but I really think we need some soft textures in that bedroom. Soft rug, I really do. I mentioned it in the last video. I like the jute rugs, but in the bedroom and the living room, it's so nice to have softness, under your feet, especially in the bedroom. And I like the idea of you've got these big oversized windows in your bedroom and in your living room. And I like the idea of putting in really beautiful. You can get linen drapes like this from like Etsy. You could get them at Pottery Barn. It just depends on your budget. I get, the ones that are in my home. I actually got those on Amazon and they're not full linen. They're like a blend, but you can find them at various price points. But I think that if you start looking at injecting those, here's another one. So this is gray. Do you see all this gray here? But do you see how nicely the orange kind of makes that gray feel a little more alive? And then you can, I don't know, I just think gray, something about that gray just comes alive with orange or like shades of orange, rust, things like that. So in your bedroom, drapes, I would look at painting your walls. It just depends on how brave you want to be, Heather. I would go for, because you have all this texture on this wall, I don't think you need to, I would definitely not do an accent wall. You've got a lot of texture, you've got a lot of light switches and just different things like that. So I would hesitate to paint this a solid color myself. I would go for a neutral color. I do still like that same color that I mentioned, putty. I think that would be a nice sort of, you see how these other images, there's really not color on the walls, but they look really good. So it's about finding that neutral color that kind of feels a little warmer. Putty is really good though. You should check that out. I just think that when you have a lot of these light switches, and I see a lot of them, do you see how they kind of stick out more? And you can cover them, but it's also can be a lot of work to cover them. So something to think about. I hope you like those suggestions. So here's your board. Hi. Hey, Debbie. So there's more people joining. Great. Okay, good. And obviously you can always let me know if you have more questions. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, great. You can always let me know if, oops, I don't want this. You can always let me know if you have more questions in Instagram when I send this to you. Good. I'm really glad that you like the idea. Does anyone have any questions? Hanging TV. Oh my gosh, you're kidding me. Oh, wow. Wow. We don't even have a TV in our bedroom. I refuse because I heard years ago that like it's a lot of energy for a sleeping area. I could not love this more. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad. What about a corner that needs a big plant, but they keep dying? I also hate silk plants. Oh, I don't like silk plants either. Oh, thank you. So here's what I do. If you have a big corner that needs something, this is what I plan to do. And we have a corner. What I would like to get would be a round kind of foyer sort of table. Something that's probably around 27 inches, 30 inches, maybe 32. It depends on the corner. But I would set up that area and then I would buy a selection of different sized vessels, like vases and vessels, um, kind of like sculptural pictures and things like that. And then I would just go outside and they may be able to hold water. It's possible. that they don't. So double check that. If they don't, make sure you can fit a glass piece inside, because what I want you to do then is go outside and cut off branches, or go to the flower shop and purchase floral branches and bring those into the home. I also just cut off branches with leaves. And then in the winter months, I use the branches without leaves. So that's what I would think to do, because I don't like silk plants, and I also don't like faux trees. Would you hang? I don't like faux trees either. So what I would try to do is I would try to find a way to integrate fresh plants, since if they keep dying, integrate fresh things like the this, I don't even know what they're called. Like we have them here, they're called pussy willows. So like those kinds of things, or I see a lot of different flowers like at the delis in the area, and you can get these sticks that have blooms all over them. I don't know if they're cherry blossoms. I don't know for sure if that's what they are, but things like that. So you can integrate different types of sticks and branches based on the season. So this would be a great time to have all those beautiful vessels on the table, and then have beautiful flowered branches. And then as summer comes in, you have beautiful green branches. And then as fall comes in, you bring in some of the dried, and through winter, you've got like the beautiful sticks. Sort of, it reminds me, the sticks, when they're kind of squiggly, they remind me of like an ink painting, like a Japanese sort of ink painting. I don't know any other way to describe it. Let's see. What is another question? Would you hang curtains on the sides of an inset window bench, or just cover the windows themselves? An inset window bench. So like a bay window. Jilly, this is your question. So like a bay window that has a seating area. Is that what you're saying? I'm a closet interior designer in my heart. Oh, great. Oh, yes, the interior design handbook is wonderful. So Jilly, let me know if that's what you're asking. I just want to make sure I understand before I answer you. Silk, corner plant, consider a grow light, grow light. Yeah, you could absolutely do that too. Some people are better with plants than others. I feel like that's my husband's strong point. So I like branches. They're not bay, just two straight windows. Okay. So yeah, so if you have two straight windows, like if there's something like, I'm just gonna draw a picture like this, then it depends on how close they are together. But yes, I would definitely, I'd hang them to the outside if they're close together. If they're far apart, they're okay. If they're far apart, let's see, I should have brought more paper. I'll just draw pictures. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. Yes. So if they're close together, if you have just a few inches between here, they're right next to each other. It kind of looks like one. Okay, then absolutely 100%. I would hang the rod here. And what I want to just remind you to do is to make sure that you have enough. Okay, so a big mistake that people will make, it's not a good look, is that they will not have enough fabric for this kind of window. So what I'm trying to say is you want to make sure, I don't know how wide this is, but I would opt for two. So a total of 4 panels. So 2 on each side. Does that make sense? That way it looks more lush. It looks more expensive that way. If you have just that skinny little one curtain, hanging, it's just not going to add to the richness of it. So I would add two on either side, and I would extend this bar out a bit depending on how much room you have. So you can have those two pieces. It's also going to make you feel like the windows are wider. And then also make sure that you're not hanging this too high or too low. Definitely check out the 5 senses video that I did, because I talk about mistakes that people make with this, like putting these curtain rods too high and then the windows too low. If you have really high windows, and it's okay to hang your curtain rod really high, but if the windows are low, you're going to end up with like a big gap here. So definitely watch that. All right, more questions? Do you want to replace wall panels in your house with abstract art with actual classical contemporary paint? Okay, wait, I think I missed something here. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Elizabeth. I'm just glad that we're having this Zoom. This is so much fun. I just can't even believe how much time has gone by because this is so much fun. Okay, let's see. Closet interior. Okay, I already read that one. Where else? Okay, good, Jilly. Let me know how it goes. I feel like I might have missed a question. I'm just going around. Okay, I saw Sharon's. I saw Jilly's. Let's see. Corner plant, look for low light. Okay, I see that. Thank you, Nicole. Yes, thank you. Please like this video. Then very Scandy to bring in sticks. Yeah, definitely. I just really, I'm not really into faux things, especially things from nature. And I'm more like I embrace the seasons. So like I was explaining earlier, you could have floral branches, like blooming branches for this time of year. And then summer, you've got leafy branches. And then as fall, it's like I change my branches based on the seasons. I just like to really embrace the seasons. And yeah, let's see. Okay, any other questions? Luch, it looks like, do you want to replace wall panels in your house with abstract art or with actual classical? Oh, are you asking me if I prefer abstract art or classical contemporary paintings? Let me know, Luch, what you're asking specifically. I mean, actually, I like abstract art very much, but I also like classical paintings too. So I have a broad love of art, and I also am very into many different things and also combining things. So I don't really stick with one thing. I'm definitely an eclectic person. Okay. Sharon, anyone else having issues with the vacuum and the curtains? Yes. Okay, so I've been dealing with that. My job was to vacuum when I was a kid. And so what I would do is I would take the curtains and I would get like those clips that you use for your hair, and I would just clip them up. And I would just do all that before I went in and vacuumed. So, or you could just tie them too, but I would use like a big clip and just clip them up. That's what I hope that tip helps. All right. Any other questions from anyone else? It's been really fun. I have a couple other submissions. I would really like to do this as an actual Zoom call where I'm not just the only person here. I would love to hear your voices. And so I would like to set this up if you are interested in being on the actual, because I feed this live through Zoom. That's why I was having a little technical difficulty when I first started, but I feed this live through Zoom. And so you can be on the Zoom call. I can give you the Zoom link and then we can go live. So yeah, yeah. So let me know. Yes, absolutely, Sharon. Yes, absolutely. I have cats that would shed all over the curtains that sit on the floor. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, so I think it would be really fun to have you all and actually be able to hear your voices and be able to hear your response to my feedback. I just think that would be more productive. So this is the first time doing this, but I really enjoyed it. Um, yeah, I think that sounds good too. Okay, I'm gonna figure out how to work that out. Please either DM me on Instagram that you want to be on the call, on the Zoom call. And if you're not on Instagram, let me know. I have to find a way to get a hold of you. So find my email in the show notes for any of the other videos. You'll see it. It's Christina at Casa Serenita. So email me. Actually, I'll just put it right here in the chat. Here's my email. If you want to be, just email me if you want to be on the call, like on the actual Zoom call for next Wednesday, or DM me on Instagram. I'll be looking at both places. Yes, thank you. Oh, you're very welcome. I'm just really happy. Oh, good, Ben. I love helping you all. I think that I don't know, you know how I feel about home, and I love to help people make their home feel more like them, like their home. It should feel like their home. And I know what it's like when you're in a space that doesn't quite feel right. So I definitely am, I feel you, and I want to help as much as I can. So I think that's it. And then until next time, be sure to like this. Yes, I enjoyed it. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Until next time, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. All right. Bye. Ciao.